Our Kansas Jayhawks have a huge Big 12 doubleheader on tap today. We start at home against Arizona, and then we go to Morgantown. Country roads, take me home to face off against the West Virginia Mountaineers. These two teams are currently undefeated this season, and I think that they are the two best in-conference teams on our schedule this year. And we're getting thrown into the wolves, essentially, by playing them as our first two in-conference games. So we've got to really put on a show here, and if we can perform well today, then we're going to make a statement and prove that we are absolutely in contention to win the Big 12 Conference this year. Should be a fun test for our young team to kind of see where we are at this point with the group. Even though teams like Kansas State and Iowa State are ranked higher, TCU's got a good record, I really feel like these are the two best teams remaining on our schedule. And they're going to be big challenges. West Virginia has been one of the biggest stories of college football this year, and Arizona has the highest rated quarterback in the game with Noah Fifita. So there is certainly a lot on the line, and it's not going to be easy. Last episode, we had our recruiting special. We talked about all of the prospects on the board here. We're going to have a few guys visit today, Week 5 against Arizona, a handful of which I'm expecting to commit, hopefully as soon as after the game. Kyrie Brower, the edge rusher, is not visiting. He's another guy I expect to hopefully have his recruitment locked up at some point during today's episode. Along with that, we also kind of recapped where I feel like the team is through 3 weeks, given that we have a very young roster, and this core of players will be sticking together for the years to come, unless everybody were to theoretically transfer out. But assuming that doesn't happen, this group of guys is our core going forward. And I think there's certainly a lot of optimism with this young team. Obviously, offensively, we've seen the big plays. We've scored a lot of points. Scoring has not been an issue for us. Amani Law, the true freshman receiver, has been fantastic. Mario Maddox and Isaiah Lamore are coming off of big games against Florida. The running back rotation, we've got a lot of talent there. Clyde Poole obviously has had his ups and downs, as had the offensive line. And then the defense, of course, has been, pretty bad so far. We just allowed 52 points against Florida. I'm hoping the bye week we can get some things situated. And we're going to do so by making some changes to players who are being redshirted and the depth chart. Kerry Folk has played a little bit through these 3 games. He hasn't given as much of an impact. So we're going to redshirt him, and we're going to take the red shirt off of Devin Murphy. He will replace the role that was being played by Folk. We haven't gotten much out of Santiago Herrera. We're going to give him a red shirt. Zach Stokes will be getting more playing time. We're not going to change anything at receiver. Amani Law's a no-brainer. Rajon Jones, we're not going to redshirt him. And then we're not going to change anything at running back for now. I do want to get Reed Sharp some reps at some point, but for now we're going to keep his red shirt. We're not going to make a switch at quarterback. I thought Clyde Poole played well against Florida after his 4-interception game and benching against UAB. We're not going to redshirt Quantavius Landers. That's a one-way ticket to the transfer portal, considering he is a 5-star. But we are going to make some changes at corner. Basil Wilson's going to move to the bench. Brian Dilworth will start in his place. And then at safety, we're not going to redshirt either Marcus Ashe or Brandon Hines. I think both of those guys have shown some good flashes. They've been far from perfect, but I would like to keep them in the rotation at safety. We also talked about Week 4 across the country in the last episode. Some surprises in there, including Texas getting mollywopped by South Carolina. So let's look at Arizona. The Wildcats are 3-0 so far this year. They haven't really played against anybody yet. They blew out Western Kentucky. They blew out an FCS team. They only beat Kent State by 10. I feel like the Wildcats have been underwhelming throughout this series, and I'm not sure if this 3-0 start is a product of their easy schedule or a sign of things to come. But when you're facing off against the highest-rated quarterback in the game, you got to take the team seriously. I don't think Noah Fifita is some great NFL prospect. He doesn't have the elite arm talent. He's not some overly dynamic runner, and he lacks size, but he's a very accurate quarterback. He does a good job of avoiding turnovers. He hasn't thrown an interception through the first 3 games of the year. In the upcoming episode of the Broncos franchise will be our prospect profile on the quarterback, so we're going to really see where Fifita stacks up as a pro prospect. But here in college, he has been terrific for Arizona in his 4th year as a starter under center for the Wildcats. Kedrick Riscano leads the backfield with Brandon Johnson. Their receivers from last year are back. Riley, Bachmeier, Hyatt, and Fisher. Defensively, they've got some good players. Dorian Thomas as well at tight end. It's a strong roster, and in terms of overall rating, they're an 84 overall, which is one of the better marks in the Big 12. A huge matchup for both of these teams, kicking off Big 12 play. 2-1 Kansas, 3-0 Arizona. Kansas is currently the first team out of the AP Top 25 poll, and Arizona is the second team out. So the winner of this game will most certainly move into the top 25 and start their Big 12 slate with a record of 1-0. Arizona is going to start with the ball. We'll take a look at Noah Fifita and company as he hands it off up the middle, and a nice gain here to start for Riscano as he gets 13. Obviously, the story with us has been the struggles with the pass defense, but what's gone under the radar is that we have really struggled to stop the run. Riscano with a big gain to around the 35. Arizona figures, we don't need to throw the ball. Let's just keep running it down their throats early on this drive. They will go play action here. Fifita into the red zone. That's going to bring them to around the 10-yard line. A nice catch there, hauled in by the tight end Dorian Thomas. Here on first down, Fifita under pressure, up the middle, with a nice throw, bringing Arizona even closer. That's Riscano, who's had an ultra-efficient season this year, and he finishes the drive by walking the red carpet into the end zone for a touchdown. For a defense who has a lot to prove, that was not the start we were hoping for. We got completely ran through. You can call us Joy Taylor. Here come the Jayhawks. A nice throw up the middle by Clyde Poole. He connects with the standout freshman, Amani Law, who's been fantastic through the first few games of the year. Here's Isaiah Lamore now. Breaks a tackle. Nobody in front of him. He's going to take it the distance. And Kansas quickly ties it. A 37-yard score for the sophomore tight end Isaiah Lamore, who has now scored in 3 consecutive games at a career-best 100-plus yards in the loss against Florida. And we're tied at 7 in a game that we expect a lot of points. That's been the case. Riscano going backwards that time. Damani Maxson brings him down. Here on 3rd and 10, Fifita goes deep and it's caught! Tiger Bachmeier is gone! And Arizona is quickly back ahead, an 84-yarder. The Achilles heel for this defense has been the vertical passing game and allowing big plays. That was Brian Dilworth, who was just inserted into the starting lineup, who lost the rep. Doesn't matter who we put at corner. All these guys are going to lose their battles anyway. Dilworth stayed with him the entire way until the end. That's right where he lost his step. At least it's not like Basil Wilson, who would be behind the receiver the whole time. But I feel like those first 2 drives is a total microcosm of how our defense has played this year. Offense back with it. Tolbert going backwards. That might be the filthiest juke move I've ever seen. It caused him to lose yardage. A few plays later on first down, Clyde Poole is sacked by Stephen Owens. Arizona's got a nice edge rush duo with him and Sterling Lane. 2nd and 13, looking downfield. That one is hauled in for a first down. Another nice grab by Amani Law, who continues to be a sensation. 3rd and 2, Poole sacked again. Sterling Lane and Zach Murphy both bring him down. And Kansas has to punt it. The first of likely not many punts for either team today. Arizona back with it, and it's picked off! The true freshman, Quantavius Landers, with his first career interception. And this game has been flipped on a dime. Noah Fifita intercepted for the first time this season. It's the freshman Landers who has shown some flashes. He's allowed a handful of big plays, but he's made some nice plays here and there. And this time he jumps the route on the ultra-accurate Noah Fifita. And that gives us the ball with great field position. We've got to take advantage and try to tie this game up going into the second quarter. Both offenses looked really good early, but they slowed down late. Arizona's defense got a couple of sacks. The Noah Fifita was intercepted by Quantavius Landers. As that brings us into the second quarter, the Jayhawks are marching, nearing the red zone. 1st and 10 at around the 12. Receiver in motion, that's Maddox. Play action, Poole keeps it, and he is going backwards. I think that was Sterling Lane who brought him down. And after the loss of yardage, we're looking at a 3rd and long. Play action again. Poole looks to throw it up the middle. Open is Amani Law! And he is in for a touchdown. Respect the law. No trespassing. And this game is tied at 14. That's Law's second career touchdown. His first to be thrown by Clyde Poole. Remember, his first career touchdown in the UAB game was thrown by Kerry Chosen. So we are knotted up at 14. Arizona back with it, looking to respond off of the interception as they will barely get the third down conversion. Riscano is able to get a couple, and they get it by inches. Play action, Fafita up the middle. Nice throw and catch. That gets him to around the 35. Devin Hyatt is the one who makes the play. Up the middle, here's a nice grab. Tedrick Fisher with a big gain. He gets 26. Arizona marching down the field very efficiently. On third down, Fafita looking for the end zone. It's broken up by Brian Dilworth. So at the very least, we do get a stop in the red zone, and that'll bring out the field goal team. This is Josh Ferris on to kick. That one is up and through from around 25 yards out. Arizona back ahead 17-14 as Kansas will get it back on offense. Kansas starts with a 3rd and 7. Here's Poole swerving on a corner. Whoa, with the juke move past the 50. And he is pushed out of bounds. A huge run by Clyde Poole. If not for that juke move, he is tackled after a gain of like a yard or two. But instead they get the first down. Trying to get something going here with the ground, but Cornell Teamer very slow out of his jump, loses yardage. That'll make it a 3rd and 12. Poole scrambles, has space, gets a block from Maddox, and there goes Clyde Poole all the way to the 10. A gain of 35 yards, one of his longest runs of the year. What a play by Clyde Poole. We have to be mindful of the clock, but I think we're in a pretty good spot here if we can manage the time. Starting with a run, Ty Lord brings it to the 5. After using a timeout, it's now 3rd and goal. We're going to go back to the ground. Jazir Tolbert does not get it, and we've got a decision to make. 4th and goal at the 2. You guys know I like to go for it when we're this close, but I'm going to take the points here. We have run the ball on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd and goal. It hasn't worked. I don't trust this team in short yardage. Let's take the points. Let's not give Arizona momentum going into the half, as the 19-yarder is good from Anthony Escalante. He's only missed 1 kick this year. I feel like he's gotten quite a bit better. And that'll wrap up the first half. We've got a good one here in Lawrence, Kansas. 17 apiece. We expected a lot of points, a lot of scoring, and that is exactly what we've gotten. 2 of the most talented offenses in the Big 12 putting on a show. Let's see what Kansas can do here in the second half. We start with the ball. There's a reason why I wore the black jerseys tonight. I was planning on attending a funeral, and it's not going to be for our team. I really hope I don't regret saying that. Defensively, though, there hasn't been a lot to like. Arizona has scored every time they've gotten the ball, with the exception of the turnover forced by Quantavious Landers. We haven't gotten a non-turnover as a defensive stop, if that makes sense. So Kansas starts with it here in the 3rd. Poole, room up the middle. He's going to slide for a first down. Takes a hit late, no flag. Nice gain by Poole up the middle. Stewart with a juke move. And a big gain for the redshirt sophomore running back, Harry Stewart III. He gets around 16. On first down, we'll go back to Stewart, and this time he is going backwards. A loss of a couple. Leviticus Sua, that is an A-plus name, brings him down. And then on 3rd down, we convert. Nice throw and catch into the hands of Ty Lord to keep the drive going. On 1st down, Poole under pressure. They got him off the blitz. Sterling Lane is there with the sack. 3rd and 11. Poole steps up in the pocket, runs for the first down. 10 carries, 83 yards. Another really good game on the ground for Poole. Fumbled it 10 times last year. Still has not coughed it up once this year. To the edge. Teamer loses 2. I like Teamer a lot. He's a big play threat, but he gets tackled too often behind the line of scrimmage when it's his own fault. Another first down run for Clyde Poole, fighting for extra yardage nearing the century mark on the ground. 1st and goal, up the middle. It is caught for a score. Mario Maddox in the end zone for, believe it or not, his first career collegiate touchdown. I'm surprised it took this long, but he finally gets in the end zone. That's also his first catch of the game, after grabbing 9 in the loss against Florida a couple weeks ago. Arizona back with it. Fifita up the middle. Caught by Devin Hyatt. Did those two defenders just run into each other? I feel like that play sums up our season. Right when we take our first lead of the entire game, we do something like that. So after the big play, it's first down with 4.5 to go in the third. Play action. Fifita has all day to throw it. Lobs it up, and it's caught! Malachi Riley puts Quantavious Landers on a poster. Into the red zone now. Arizona goes back to the line quickly, trying to catch the defense off guard, and it works with ease. Kendrick Riscano in for his second touchdown of the game, and the Jayhawk lead is short-lived. Tied at 24. Kansas back with it. First down a little bit past the 20. Look at this. It's Reed Sharp with the juke move. His first career play as a Jayhawk gets 16. I wanted to get Reed Sharp some reps. I feel like we have not gotten great production out of the running back position today, specifically from Cornell Teamer, who loses more yardage. That time it really wasn't his fault. But as I was talking about on the last drive, we get the splash plays with Teamer, but it feels like he tries to do too much sometimes. Play action for Sharp. That one is batted down. Arizona with the stop. They'll get it back on offense late here in the third, looking to take the lead. Here is Fifita. Play action up the middle in traffic, and it's intercepted. Taylor Davis, his third of the year. And the Kansas defense gets another turnover off of Noah Fifita. Arizona has not punted it once today, but they've had 2 failed drives off of interceptions from a guy who rarely gets picked off. Again, his first 2 interceptions of the year, and like the last one, this one gives us great field position. Wide open, Isaiah Lamore gets a block, and he is wrapped up inside the 10. We capitalized off the last turnover with a touchdown. Can we do it again? Second and goal. Let's see what the Jayhawks have up in store here. Read option. Poole does not get much. We've got a flag, and this one's probably coming back. So it's a holding call, and now we have it all the way back at the 16. Certainly not ideal. We're going to go back to the read option. Poole with room to the outside. Juke move makes up all the yardage and then some. And now it's a third and goal at maybe the 1, probably the 2-yard line as that wraps up the third. We were expecting a good one, a high-scoring thriller, a shootout, and we have gotten what we paid for. 24-24. Kansas has it at the goal line to start the fourth, looking to take the lead. Third and goal for the Jayhawks from the 2-yard line. Handoff, Thompson, he's in! Untouched! Kansas back ahead. Johnny Thompson Jr. with the score. And the Jayhawks now lead at 31-24. Arizona has it back, looking to tie. Up the middle. Here's a nice first down run as Arizona continues to pound the rock. Kendrick Riscano with a good gain. He gets it back, breaks the tackle, past the 50, finally wrapped up by Damani Maxson, who appears to be shaken up after the play. Arizona now at the 30. It's an RPO. That one is caught. Well, nice juke move inside the 10. That is a big play for Tedrick Fisher, who's had a couple nice catches in this one. Now inside the 5 after a gain of 26. First and goal. Riscano powers his way through, and we are tied at 31. Arizona responds with a touchdown drive of their own, and Kansas gets it back. 3rd and 8, under 5 minutes to go. Here's Poole, looks to throw it, dances around under pressure, finds Law, pushed backwards, and they will give him the first down. Forward progress for Amani Law. Really nice throw under pressure by Clyde Poole as he hands it off for Ty Lord, the true freshman up the middle. He gets the first down late in the Florida game. Lord was the guy getting a lot of the reps at the end of the game, and that's the case again here. He's the guy we trust the most. 3rd down, under pressure, incomplete. Arizona gets the stop. They'll get it back with a chance to potentially take the lead and win the game. On first down, handoff up the middle. It's Riscano. Gets a few. Damani Maxson hurt again. So not only is that one of our better players who's been banged up in this one, but that also stops the clock. Now we're looking at a 3rd and 2 here for Arizona. Maybe the biggest play of the game. Riscano gets the first down, and Arizona brings it to around the 30. I'm intrigued that they're focused on running the ball, despite the fact that well, they're not winning. As that sets us up at the 2-minute warning. Arizona's got it at the 30. All they need is a field goal for the lead. There's a solid play. That one goes for a first down. A gain of roughly 15 yards. It's Floof Mitchell. Yes, that is his name. Past the 50. Short throw. Caught. Another first down. This time it's Riscano, the running back, who comes down with it. Slowly but efficiently moving the ball down the field. They're not in field goal range yet, but they're close. Fafita goes short. That one is caught. Not going to get much, as it's a gain of maybe a yard or two for Tyler Powell. Pivotal play here, 3rd and 7. Fafita, open man short, and they will get the first down. Jackson Holman with his first catch of the game, and it's a big one, as Brinkley is now banged up for Kansas. I still don't think they're in comfortable field goal range yet, but they're close. Maybe a first down away. Fafita has plenty of time, and he connects. They're definitely in field goal range now. And now they get to be smart with the clock. Running some time off, forcing Kansas to flush these timeouts, as it's maybe a gain back to the original line of scrimmage on first down. Caleb Purdy with the tackle. 2nd and 11. They're going to call that a loss of yardage. I imagine they're going to go back to the ground. We still have our 2 timeouts after just using the first one, as Riscano gets maybe 2 or 3. That brings us to a 3rd down. If you're Arizona, do you look to be more aggressive here, or do you stick with the run? 3rd down and 9 with a receiver in motion. That's what they're going to do, and Kansas sees it coming. Samuel Mbemba with each of the last 2 tackles. We're going to use our last timeout, and Arizona is going to bring the field goal unit out. 33-yarder from the right hash for Josh Ferris, and it is good. It squeaks through. So Arizona takes the lead, 34-31, and we'll get the ball back with 18 seconds and no timeouts. Got to hope for a big play. Luckily in college football, first down, stop the clock. Looking deep, broken up on first down, incomplete. Clock sits at around 13. On 2nd down, Jones is open downfield. It's underthrown and picked off. That's going to do it. Arizona wins it. Jayhawks Celestine with the interception. And the Wildcats start their Big 12 season 1-0. I think Rajon Jones ran a really good route there. He got open. He got separation from the corner, but Clyde Poole underthrew it, and Celestine was able to force the turnover, and Kansas drops a heartbreaker here at home to the Wildcats. Believe it or not, this is the first time in the entire series that we have lost a home game to a power conference opponent. Coming into this game, we were 12-1 at home since the first episode of this series, and 11-0 against power conference teams. However, that streak comes to a close. So we already have now lost a game in Big 12 play, and much like our in-conference losses last year, they're all really close. Maybe not as depressing or as stupid as our 3 Big 12 losses last year, but this one certainly still hurts. We had our chances to win it. The offense wasn't clutch at the end of the game. It's hard to blame them for the loss, though. We scored 31 points. That should be enough. Clyde Poole was not very efficient, though, throwing the ball, only completing 52% of his passes, but he was great on the ground. I will say I don't think the rest of the run game was very good. I also feel like Poole did not consistently have time to throw it. I don't think the offensive line played a very good game today. Through the air, 4 for 65 and a touchdown for Amani Law, continuing his hot start. Isaiah Lamore with 2 catches, and nobody else had more than 1. We got to get the passing game more consistent and more efficient. The offensive line, as I mentioned, not great. Spencer Fano, the 5th-ranked player in the transfer portal, continues to be a disappointment. And then the defense, bad again. I've been critical of the coverage this year, but today I think the defensive line lost us this game. We continue to be unable to stop the run. We sent no pressure. We ended up with 0 sacks. And we're going to call some guys out right now. Dekias Brinkley, 16 sacks as a freshman. Where has he been since then? Seth Jennings, one of our top recruits back in Season 1, has played in 17 career games, and he has 5 sacks to show for it, including just half a sack this year. These are supposed to be our most talented players. The defensive line was supposed to be the strength of the team, but they have been extremely disappointing this year. It's easy for Noah Fafita, who has all day to throw it, Now, granted, he did make some nice passes. I thought he had a pretty good game. Riscano only averaged 4.5 yards per carry, but if you watched the game, it was pretty easy to tell that the run defense was squishy and soft, and that starts up front with the defensive line. Those guys got to step up. They got to play better. If we had adequate defensive line play, maybe finish with 2 sacks, a couple more TFLs in the backfield, we would have won the game. That was the difference. But those guys did not show up today, and we need them to be better going forward, or else this team is not going to have a chance to compete in this conference. With the secondary already being an issue as it is, the defensive line has to at least be adequate. Let's talk about recruiting now for the next 2 weeks. On a brighter note, these 4 guys all visited today, and well, they all got to see a loss. And from some of the research I've done, your team's performance in visits strongly matters, so that could be something to monitor. We've got 4 guys who have narrowed their list down to 3 schools. I think the most competitive race here is for linebacker Donovan Gossett. Oregon has the edge. I would have loved to have had him visit this week, but Utah scheduled one too early. Now, despite the fact that we lost, the 3 defensive players who we had on the visits were all complimentary visits for each other, so I think that kind of offsets the loss, but we didn't get that for Jayden Addae, so I'm a little worried it's more likely that we lose him, and if we do, he'll be going to our biggest rival, Kansas State. So because of that, I'm not taking any chances with these guys. We're going to give them the maximum amount of points. Even if Addae and Leon Ibrahim really don't need it, there's a high likelihood we're going to land these guys anyway, but it is not worth the risk. With other teams in pursuit, let's play it safe. For Abreu and Hurley, those races are still very competitive. Again, it's not worth the risk. I was able to take some points off of Kyrie Brower, though. I really think he is pretty much a lock at this point. I wanted to keep 20, though, just to be safe. And then this is how we're going to use the rest of our points. Looking at some of these defensive backs, we talked a little bit about Greg Ricks at the end of the last episode. I did not realize Ohio State was going to go this hard into him. Whoa, pause, hey, yo. So because of that, I'm going to give him the maximum amount of recruiting hours as well. So with that, we're going to simulate the week. We're going to hope for some good news. I think Jayden Addae, Kyrie Brower, Leon Ibrahim, and Donovan Gossett will all be committing. There's a chance that Abreu and Hurley do as well. I think it's a little bit less likely. Chances are I would expect we get Addae, we get Brower, we get Ibrahim, and we lose out on Gossett. But maybe there are some surprises. I would love to get Gossett, and maybe some of those guys who visited and saw the loss changed their mind. So as we simulate the week, we get the news that Jayden Addae has committed, a top 50 prospect in the nation, second-ranked player in the state of Kansas from Blue Valley Northwest High School, the same school that Jazir Tolbert graduated from. This is a guy who could be a potential long-term starter for us on the offensive line, a big get. Kyrie Brower, 4-star pass rusher, a top 60 player in the nation from Eldridge, Iowa, and Assumption High School. This is a huge get for us. Not only is he a highly ranked prospect, but he's a gem. Do-it-all edge rusher who I think has a chance to make an impact as a freshman and be a great player down the line. Leon Ibrahim, the linebacker from Menlo Atherton High School in the Bay Area in California. He's an undersized linebacker at around 6 foot. But ladies, short kings can play. Really good cover guy, really rangy, very instinctive. I think he's a guy who's absolutely going to outperform his recruiting ranking. So as expected, I was planning on landing those 3 guys, and we do. Donovan Gossett is going to Oregon. I figured that would be the case. I don't think this is a battle that we really misplayed. I think Oregon just gave him a lot of points at the right time, and them being a big program, they were able to overpower us at the end. The one surprise here is quarterback Chris Paul locking us out. I didn't really expect this. We were in second place going into the week. I took some points off. I still think I gave him around 25 or so. But both Missouri and Iowa State have jumped us. So we are out of the race for him, and he'll probably be going to one of our main rivals, Kansas State or Missouri. These 3 defensive backs are down to 3. Abreu and Hurley after the visit. It looks like we're in a good spot. But with Greg Ricks, Ohio State is still pouring on the points. Let's now talk about how we're going to manage our Week 6 recruiting. Now that we've got 3 players to sign here, I'm going to keep Chris Paul on the board Not because I think we have any chance of landing him. That ship has obviously sailed. But I kind of want to see how this recruitment ends. Again, it's going to be probably one of our rivals, Kansas State or Missouri. The Wildcats, certainly the favorite. I'd probably give them around a 75 to 80% chance of landing him. But nonetheless, it looks like he's going to be an enemy and an antagonist for us going forward. So that's pretty cool. It would be ironic if it was Iowa State who landed him. But with landing those 3 commits, we have a lot of extra recruiting hours, 260. We only have 3 guys who are down to 3 schools, and we're already putting the maximum amount of hours into them anyway. With Gossett off the board, I'm going to add a punter. Ofisa Sammy, a 3-star from Southfield, Michigan, not too far away from Detroit. Damon Greaves, our current punter, is a senior, and we need a replacement. I was really surprised to see how many recruiting hours it took to scout him. It took 50. Jeez. Looks like a pretty solid player, though. We're going to give him a scholarship, but obviously we're not going to really give him too many points right away because, well, he's a punter. And we have a lot of bigger fish to currently fry. That includes cornerback Greg Ricks. He's down to 3. Ohio State is still pouring on the points. I think we're going to keep our 65 recruiting hours onto him. I think the race is close enough, but I don't like our chances. I have 40 points left over, so I figured I would offer a visit for our upcoming Week 8 home game against BYU. We have 4 back-to-back-to-back home games right in the heart of recruiting season, which I think works out pretty well. Last year we got kind of screwed up by the schedule. This year it's the opposite. So at first, I thought Dylan Countess would be the guy we would extend the visit to. It's a close race. I'd love to try to give us some wiggle room in this battle, but I think his recruitment's going to be done by Week 8, so that would be a waste of 40 recruiting hours. Why bother? Let's just give him 75 points instead. We're going to offer the visit for Quinn Coatney instead, the 5-star corner. I don't want somebody else to offer him a visit for Week 8 before I get the chance to, and I'm hoping that'll give us the leg up to landing him. This is how we're going to use the rest of our points. I'm expecting 2 of the defensive backs, Cornell Abreu and Cordell Hurley, to commit to us this week. Greg Ricks will also be making his decision, Ohio State being the front runner, and we'll see what happens there in the next episode. Let's talk about Week 5, though, across the rest of the nation, and we're starting with a doozy. Number 4, Ohio State. Number 2, Oregon. 2 of the best teams in the Big 12, both having made the playoffs over each of the last 2 years. And it's Ohio State, the first team to knock off the reigning champions. They would win a close one, 24-19, with a pretty solid showing from Julian Sands. 69% completion percentage. Nice. Throwing for 3 touchdowns. Pat Flanagan seems to be the next guy up of Ohio State's wide receiver factory. Dante Moore was solid, not great, not bad though. That's going to bring us to Florida. The Gators are a team who I think is way outperforming their preseason expectations. We, of course, got to see this firsthand a few weeks ago, and they're picking up right where they left off. DJ Lagway and this passing game are in quite the rhythm. They didn't score 50 again, but they beat Oklahoma 31-17, moving all the way up to number 12. Lagway throws for 3 scores. They run the ball efficiently. Maybe not as good as they did against us, though. Those 2 backs averaged like 7 yards a carry. I do think Jackson Arnold has been pretty good this year. I feel like he's been kind of mediocre throughout this series, but he's having a solid season and could make a name for himself as a solid quarterback prospect. Texas is coming off a really bad loss last week against South Carolina. They've got to redeem themselves against Ole Miss, a team who only won 3 games last year. And that would not be the case. The lefty gunslinger Austin Simmons would lead Ole Miss to the win over the Longhorns, 24-18, with 17 points coming in the 4th quarter. So a big win here for Ole Miss. It looks like they're a lot better than they were last year. Austin Simmons looks like a pretty solid ball player. And I got to shout out Trent Aurora. He's a receiver who we recruited back in Season 1. He's played a nice role for this Ole Miss team this year as a sophomore. The big story of this game, though, is Texas. I don't know if I said it directly early in the year, but this was the team I thought was going to win the national championship. I felt like they brought a lot of key guys back, including Arch Manning. And, well, that has not aged well at all. I was quite wrong. Arch Manning was really mediocre today. There's too many games with him where he leaves a lot of meat on the bone, it feels like. Washington facing off against Purdue, 2 pleasantly surprising, strong teams in the Big Ten this year, both currently undefeated, both currently ranked. Purdue, of course, just beat Alabama last week, and they are not done. They would come into Seattle in the rain, which is the element for the Huskies, But the Boilermakers win 26-16. They climb up all the way to number 14. This Purdue team is the real deal. Marcos Davila, the redshirt sophomore quarterback, with 3 touchdowns. I still am quite high on Washington. Demon Williams Jr. played fairly well today despite the loss. I think these are 2 teams who had the capability to keep this going and potentially make it to the playoff. Arizona State headed to Manhattan to face off against Kansas State, our top rivals. Going into the year, I was not high on Kansas State at all. They've started the year 3-0. They're currently in the top 10, but they proved me right. These guys are utter frauds. They would get blasted by the Sun Devils 46-14. I will say, though, I think Arizona State's been quietly pretty impressive this year. Better late than never. It seems like Kenny Dillingham's really got something going with this group, even though Sam Leavitt is now the backup at Ohio State, and Cam Skattebo is bouncing off of NFL practice squads. But Lincoln Kienholz, who they got in the transfer portal from Ohio State, has been really good. He has been way better than Sam Leavitt was over the last couple of years. In this game, he throws for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. I'm not ready to take the Sun Devils overly seriously as a contender in the Big 12, but they already beat Texas A&M this year. They just blew out Kansas State on the road. Javante Barnes with a big game on the ground and then through the air. Nathan Acevedo, 6 for 204 and 3 tutties. As for Kansas State, I feel like they were overranked going into the year. Obviously, they had a great team last year, but Avery Johnson's gone. Dylan Edwards is gone. DJ Giddens is gone. This team is just not as talented as it was at all a season ago. And, well, I don't think they're that good. At least for them, it looks like they're going to land Chris Paul, the high school quarterback. Texas A&M heads to Rocky Top to face off against Tennessee. Jake Merklinger, the current Tennessee quarterback, recently suffered a long-term injury, expected to miss around half the year. And, well, that showed because the Vols got blasted. 42-10, Texas A&M with the win. I will give Tennessee some grace here. 28 of those A&M points came in the fourth quarter. This game was competitive for a while, and then A&M really turned on the Jets late. So Tennessee decided to go with true freshman Philandros Spiro as their starting quarterback today, replacing Merklinger, and he was dreadful. Not good at all. I was skeptical of this Texas A&M team coming into the year. I felt like they lost too many guys to the NFL, and they started the year off a little bit shaky. They lost to Arizona State, who we just talked about earlier, but this is a statement win on the road. I don't care that it's against the backup quarterback. They played really well. Florida State faces off against SMU, 2 playoff teams from a year ago who certainly do not look like playoff teams through the first third of the year. SMU with the upset over the Seminoles, their second loss of the season, matching their regular season total from a year ago. 20-17 is the final. Luke Kromenhoek getting hurt in spring ball obviously really ruined things for FSU, but they haven't gotten that bad of quarterback play from Brock Glenn. It's just that, like Texas A&M, they lost a lot of guys to the NFL as well, and they've had a harder time recovering. Good win here for SMU, even though it seems like Florida State has kind of fallen off the map. They've got to get Ashton Kozart more involved, though. He had a huge year last season with Preston Stone. Looking at some scores around the league, Maryland with a 50 bomb. We almost put them on the schedule. They would have maybe scored 70 against us. USC beats Mississippi State 35-0. Michigan with a nice win over Nebraska. Virginia barely beats their FCS team. UAB beats Army 45-7. Our UAB win is going to continue to age really well. I think the Blazers are the best Group 5 team in America right now. In their 3 wins, they're averaging 55 points a game. In the Big 12, Oklahoma State 2-0 in conference. TCU with a strong win. They look like a good team this year. Iowa State 0-2 in conference. They lose to Utah, who is playing better after a slow start. Arkansas State 5-0 in the upcoming prospect profile for the Broncos series. Look out for their quarterback, Jalen Rayner. I'm excited to talk about him. He looks like he could be a possible NFL pro down the line. Indiana 0-5. They lose to Michigan State. I'll give the Spartans some credit. It seems like they're kind of turning the ship a little bit. Stanford is 5-0. They just blew out a strong Duke team who is a really good quarterback in Malik Murphy. Stanford went 0-12 last year. They had a top 5 pick with Colin Wright, the only thing that was going for them a season ago. So he's gone, and they're now undefeated. South Carolina with a blowout win over Kentucky. They should probably be ranked, while Notre Dame loses their first game of the year dropping one to North Carolina 17-7. I still cannot get over the fact that Stanford is undefeated. Was Colin Wright the problem for them? I mean, he's been pretty good through 5 NFL games with the Broncos. West Virginia, as you can see, is now ranked. We are the 3rd team out, so we didn't really lose too much there according to the voters, which, I mean, I guess it's fair. We played a really close game with Arizona. It's not like we got smacked. But I don't like seeing us at the bottom of the conference standings. It is nice seeing Kansas State below us, though. Maddox Madsen throws 8 touchdowns. He wins the Player of the Week. Arizona State with both of the winners in the Big 12 Conference. As for the Heisman race, another week of criticizing EA College Football's Heisman list. Lenore Sellers, again, he's been good this year. I still don't think he should be in first. MJ Morris here in 5th. That really doesn't make much sense to me. MJ Morris has been by far better than anybody on this list. Xavier Jordan got the ball twice last week. Granted, he scored both times. But how is he ahead of a guy like MJ Morris, who I think has been the best quarterback in America through 5 games, dominating for that Maryland offense? Thank God we did not play against the Terps. They're playing against Oregon this week. That's going to be a fun game. As will this one. West Virginia, 4-0. They beat Alabama. Then they had some close games against, on paper, some not-so-great teams with Tulsa and East Carolina. But when you do some digging, these aren't bad wins. Tulsa and ECU are 8-0 when they're not playing against West Virginia this year. And then they blew out Iowa State on the road. I think the Cyclones were overhyped coming into the year. They lost a lot of guys to the NFL. But beating a conference opponent by 41 at their place is impressive. They're also coming off a bye week, which certainly doesn't hurt either. The lefty, Nico Marichal, leads the way at quarterback. Trevion Dunbar, the sophomore running back, has been one of the best offensive players in the Big 12 this year. They've got some playmakers at receiver, Traylon Ray, Hudson Clement, and Rodney Gallagher. Clement will not go, however. That's a big loss for them. This offense scares me. These guys have some playmakers in the backfield at receiver. They've got some talent on defense. They've got a pretty solid front unit. So this is a huge game for us and for West Virginia. It seems like the Mountaineers really have something going. I don't think they won 4 games in a season in each of the first 2 seasons of this series. Yet here they're 4-0 with wins against Alabama and Iowa State. They look like the real deal. They're coming off a bye week. They haven't been at home in a month. So I imagine this fan base is going to be riled up with one of the best West Virginia teams in a while. But look at this, the defense with an early stop. Quantavius Landers breaks up the pass. We did not force a single punt against Arizona last week, and we do within the first minute today. Poole steps up in the pocket, runs for the first down. He gets 11. We need Clyde Poole to be more efficient through the air, but we certainly are hoping he continues to play well through the ground. Nice snag there to the 30 by Amani Law. Now we're looking at a 2nd and 3, play action. Here's Poole, steps up in the pocket, looking for the end zone. It is caught for a touchdown. Rajon Jones comes down with the score. A great opening 2.5 minutes for the Jayhawks. Rajon Jones has certainly not gotten off to the start that his freshman counterpart, Amani Law, has. I felt like the gap between the two of them was really similar as prospects. Hasn't been the case so far, but that was a really nice play, and hopefully Jones is able to build off that. Oh my goodness, a sack! I don't believe it! Trevion Ford and Dekias Brinkley with half a sack each. Seth Jennings sending pressure as well. I called these guys out after the Arizona game. That's a promising start. 3rd down and very long. Marichal throws it away out of the end zone. That was nearly a safety. See what happens when you bring pressure? Through 2 drives, West Virginia has -5 offensive yards. Where has this been? Poole under pressure. He gets a taste of his own medicine. It's the redshirt sophomore Mekhi Byerson on 3rd down. That one is batted away. Incomplete. And that'll lead to a punt. West Virginia gets it back. Poor field position, though. A good punt by Damon Greaves as it's play action. Marichal up the middle. Nice throw and catch. That'll get them well out of safety territory. Hauled in by Traylon Ray, the number 1 receiver for this team, the standout senior. Marichal on 3rd and 10. Under pressure. Sacked again. Trevion Ford and Seth Jennings are there for half a sack each. Jennings and Brinkley were the 2 guys I called out specifically. They both have half a sack here in the first quarter. Good start. And Trevion Ford coming off the right side has been dominant. Here's Cornell Teamer with a big run up the middle. He gets around 11 or 12. Again, Teamer's the big play threat. It's just about not doing too much. I feel like once he figures it out, though, he's going to be hard to stop. Ty Lord slammed in the backfield. He loses a couple. That was a ferocious tackle. 3rd and 7. Poole has all day to throw it. Look at the blocking by the line. Scrambles to the right. Runs for the first down. Again, where has this been all year? Our trench play has been so inconsistent, but today it's been unbelievably good. On first down for the end zone, it's caught! Isaiah Lamore make that 4 consecutive games with a touchdown for the sophomore tight end. What a start here in Morgantown for the Jayhawks. They lead 14-0. West Virginia starts with it at the 13. Marischal has time up the middle. He's got Farmer. Gets by the safety, Brandon Hines, and he is gone. 87 yards to the house for Rick Darius Farmer. There's the big play that the Kansas defense allows every week. Both teams trade off touchdowns. West Virginia back in it. It's 14-7. Kansas immediately with the ball back. There's a nice move by Ty Lord. The true freshman gets the first down nearing the end of the quarter. Hard not to like what we've seen from the offense so far as Poole keeps it on the option. First down and more past the 30. And he is tracked down at around the 25-yard line as Spencer Fano, the left tackle, has been banged up. He has struggled this year, but we certainly hope it's not a long-term injury. Following play, Poole steps up in the pocket, runs with it again, gets a first. A nice block from Maddox, and he has it all the way to the 1. 5 carries for 67 yards in the first quarter for Clyde Poole. What a start for him. Kansas leads 14-7 through 1, and we've got it at the 1-yard line to start the second quarter. The offense has been terrific, and the defense, other than the one big play, our defense has been quite good. Here in the second, QB sneak, he is in. Clyde Poole, his 3rd all-purpose touchdown of the game. 2 passing, now 1 on the ground. Kansas adds to the lead, 21-17, as West Virginia gets it back. I don't want a close game. Let's take these guys out early. We had too many games last year where we started strong and then took the pedal off the metal and let the other team back in. Marischal on first down. Nice throw, nice juke move. And that goes for a first down. It's hauled in by Greg Cummins. 3rd and 7. Marischal under pressure off the blitz. He connects. First down and more. This is Jarrell Williams nearing the 20. West Virginia's having their most sustained drive of the game so far, but they're looking at a 3rd down. 3rd and around 8. Marischal under pressure. Backs up. Hit as he throws incomplete. The pass rush has done a complete 180. From last week to today, I don't know what happened. I guess calling them out worked. R.J. Kokan from 45. That one is good. And West Virginia makes it 21-10. Still a 2-score game. Nice stop defensively in the red zone as Kansas gets it back. 4 drives, 3 touchdowns so far. Flushes out. Got to get rid of it. Not a bad throw for Law. It's broken up, but Clyde Poole banged up on the play, and since we don't know the severity of the injury, for now we're going to have DeAndre Rainbolt in the game. If it's a big deal, we might switch to one of the true freshmen. Thompson to the outside. Big first down run. He gets around 15, and we're going to bring Clyde Poole back into the game. We're going to be cautious with his usage, though, especially as a runner, which has obviously been his biggest asset today. 2nd and 1. Here's Lord to the outside. Big run for Lord. He's able to outrun the defenders. Speed is not the name of his game, but he plays faster than I feel like his ratings show. On first down, Poole, clean pocket. He's got Amani Law running sideways with the juke move. For most receivers, that's a gain of about 6. For Amani Law, it's a gain of 16. He continues to be a star. Here's Tolbert, gets some room, finds the hole, first down, juke move to the 10. We've ran the ball well, we're throwing the ball well, everything is in unison. This play is going to come back, though, a holding against the right guard, Amir Herring, taking a really nice run by the redshirt freshman, Jazir Tolbert, off the board. After getting back to the original line, 2nd down, Tolbert gets his big first down run after all. We have not ran like this since the UAB game. It's really refreshing to see us getting a groove with the ground game, specifically the running backs. Teamer trying to do too much there, loses yardage. Luckily for him, I guess, it's coming back on a holding call. But again, this continues to be the issue of Cornell Teamer. I do feel like he's really close to figuring it out, though. And once his vision improves, he's going to be hard to stop, but he's got to take his lumps. Up the middle on third down. Amani Law with the conversion, his 5th catch of the game. Already matches a career high in receptions. Here on 2nd and goal, Teamer tackled in the end zone for a touchdown. The true freshman running back, Cornell Teamer, with the score, 28-10. What a showing offensively by the Jayhawks. Defensively, we've been quite good. 3rd and 10. Mari Scholl's pass is caught. Nice grab for a first down despite a big hit there from Traylon Ray. They're moving it pretty nicely now at around the 45. Mari Scholl up the middle, back to Ray. Another first down and a big play after the catch. Look at him go! 40 yards for Traylon Ray. And West Virginia is back in the end zone. Another big play led up by this defense, who does this multiple times per week. We cannot let them continue to stretch the field and get these big plays after the catch. 3rd and 9, short throw, caught for a first down. When in doubt, look for number 2. Amani Law continues to be such a playmaker. 2nd and 3, Poole steps up, looks to run, gets the first, and is tracked down from behind at around the 45. There's a chance we put up a 30-piece here in the first half against a strong West Virginia defense. That's going to be a loss of yardage, though. Ty Lord is brought down. That forces Kansas to have to use a timeout. And now we're looking at a 3rd down and around 8. Poole looks to throw it. Under some pressure. On the run. He's got his man. Mario Maddox with the first down. He did not get out of bounds, though. First down. Poole has time. Goes left. Will he run or will he throw? He looks for the open man, but it's intercepted. West Virginia's defense comes down with the turnover. It looked like the receiver, I think that was Law, was going to be open, but it was underthrown a little bit, and Tyler Walton, the defensive end, gets the interception. That's Clyde Poole's 8th pick of the year, matching his total from last year, and he's only got 4 games worth of snaps. So that'll wrap up the first half. 28-17. Other than the turnover, the offense has been terrific. Clyde Poole has played a great game. We've ran it really well, 190 yards, and I like what we've gotten defensively. West Virginia's gotten a couple big plays. We need to limit those huge scores. They have an 87-yarder from Farmer and a 40-yarder from Trey. But otherwise, on a play-by-play basis, the defense has been really solid today. We're sending pressure, we're stopping the run, and they haven't gotten many consistent drives. Early in the 3rd, that one is underthrown and incomplete. Amani Law was open. He was able to get by the defensive backs, but it was underthrown. West Virginia back with it. Mari Scholl takes a shot. It's caught near the 20. Another big reception. It's a gain of 38 for Kevin McCrane. At the very least, we didn't let him break off a touchdown. But still, can't be allowing the big ones. Bend, don't break. This team does a lot of breaking. On first down, nice throw and catch into the end zone for a touchdown. West Virginia, all of a sudden, will be within 1 score. Or will they? We are dodging a bullet here. Johnny Williams, the 4th, called for a holding. Man, we are lucky. 1st and 20. They'll go to the ground, and Dunbar is losing yardage. Graydon Grimes brings him down. Trevion Dunbar has been really quiet today. The run defense hasn't had a good game since week 1 against Missouri. Here's a sack. It's Damani Maxon off the blitz, joined by Seth Jennings. Jennings continuing his productive day. 3 TFLs and a sack. And now it's a 3rd and 31. He's just going to dump it off for Dunbar, wrapped up by Mo Nwokeji. It looked like West Virginia was going to get a touchdown on this drive, and instead they have to punt it. So Kansas gets it back, remains 28-17. Here's Poole under pressure. He is sacked. Luckily not in the end zone. He actually really wasn't that close. Wrapped up at around the 4 as he's brought down on the play by Asani Redwood. On 3rd down and long, we're just going to run the ball. Nothing stupid. And Jazir Tolbert gets back to the original line. West Virginia back with it in good field position. On 3rd and 17, Mari Scholl's going to get around 8. Good stop there by the defense, and that's going to bring out the field goal unit. If they make this kick, it's a 1-score game, though. I think we're looking at around a 45-yarder or so, give or take, and the kick from Kosan is through. 28-20. West Virginia has scored 10 unanswered. They were down by 3 scores not too long ago. Our offense has really cooled down here in the second half. West Virginia has really adjusted defensively. On third down, Poole under pressure. He is sacked. Another stop for the Mountaineers. Mekhi Byerson and Darrell Evans with half a sack each. And theoretically, West Virginia can tie it on this drive. Marichal keeps it on the option and is decked. Taylor Davis delivers the boom. That'll wrap up the third quarter. We've got a good one, 28-20. This feels like one of those games last year where we started off really strong. We were up 14-0. We were up 28-10, but we can't seem to close it out. And last year's team had a bunch of seniors. Now it's a bunch of freshmen and sophomores who are trying to win. So West Virginia has it on first down. Another sack! Damani Maxson off the blitz. Sack number 4 for the Kansas defense. 4 more than last week. 2nd and 19, they go to the ground. Dunbar loses yardage. Jennings with the initial contact, and Dekias Brinkley brings him down. Brinkley has been terrific in the run game today. 3rd and 20. Nico Marichal under pressure, sacked again. Travion Ford now with 2 sacks in this one, and the former Toledo Rocket gets the West Virginia offense off the field. Kansas back with it. Still an 8-point game. On first down, Poole goes deep. He's got Isaiah Lamore past the 35. That's what we needed here from the offense. We have not gotten any big plays really at all in the second half. On 2nd and 7, Poole up the middle. Mario Maddox with the first down. I think the biggest reason why the offense has struggled in the second half is that West Virginia's taken Amani Law out of the game. He hasn't been able to get open like he did early. 3rd and goal. Poole looking for Law, and he cannot hang on. It's jarred out. That'll bring out the field goal team. This kick is not centered. Certainly not comfortable, per se, for Escalante. And the 26-yarder is no good. Kicking from the hashes continues to be a problem for Escalante. He hadn't missed since week 1. And with 3 minutes to go, West Virginia gets it back. It is a 3rd and 14. Marichal is sacked. Brinkley and Ford both bring him down. That makes it a 4th and really long, and they're going to punt the ball. Interesting strategy. It gives us pretty good field position. We're not far off from field goal range, but with Escalante, you never know. 3rd and 8. Law wide open with the first down and the juke move. A huge conversion there by Amani Law. Risky to throw the ball there. West Virginia was playing for the run. They sent about 6 and had nobody covering the middle of the field. We catch them off guard with the pass and are able to convert. Audible on 2nd down. Teamer loses 5. So on that play, it wasn't really his fault that the defensive lineman won his rep, but Teamer made it worse. It should have been a loss of 2. We'll give it back to Teamer. We want to continue to show trust in him as he gets around 2 or 3. And that'll bring back out the field goal unit. I wanted to center the kick. He missed from 26. This one's from 44, though. Escalante, this one is up and through. So the 44-yard kick from Anthony Escalante will make it a 2-score game. The first points for Kansas since there was 3 minutes left in the second quarter. It's been a while. 31-20. West Virginia needs a lot to go their way. 3rd and 5. Another sack! A big hit by Travion Ford off of the initial pressure from Samuel Impemba. 4th and 12. This one is for the game with around a minute and a half left and no timeouts. Marichal goes deep. He's intercepted. Brian Dilworth, his 3rd of the year, and that's going to do it. Kansas comes into Morgantown and knocks off the undefeated West Virginia Mountaineers by the final score of 31-20, putting a damper on what's been a great start for West Virginia this year. With how good they have played, I would guess that Bob Huggins has only had 2 or 3 driving-related arrests since they beat Alabama, but after losing this game, somebody better take his keys away. This certainly was not a perfect game by any stretch. A lot to improve upon. Offensively, in the first half, we were unstoppable. In the second half, we scored 3 points. If you were to tell me that at halftime, I would have told you we lost this game. But the defense stepped up when they needed to, and we only allowed 3 points in the second half. West Virginia's 2 touchdowns came off of big plays. That continues to be a problem for this defense that we've got to figure out. But they did not have any long and sustained drives end in the end zone. And I thought on a down-by-down, play-by-play basis, we had our best defensive game of the year. Nico Marichal was fine. He wasn't bad per se. He was under constant pressure, but he also didn't do himself any favors. He held onto the ball a little bit too long in certain instances, and that was a big reason why he got sacked 7 times. West Virginia could not run the ball. Really refreshing to see the run defense play this well. We've been giving all the attention to the pass rush, but they were great in the run game. Defensively for West Virginia, I thought they adjusted really well. They were able to take Amani Law out of the game plan, and with him only having like 1 catch in the second half, granted it was a big one, our offense couldn't really move the ball as well. Clyde Poole overall played a pretty good game, though. He wasn't very impactful on the ground other than the first quarter, but he had some good throws. Ty Lord continues to be our best running back, 9 carries, 64 yards. Teamer was by far the most inefficient at the group, but we're not going to take him out of the rotation. Again, I think he's close to figuring it out. Amani Law did have 2 drops, but he also caught 8 balls for 96 yards. Lamore had some nice plays. Rajon Jones had that really nice touchdown grab in the first quarter, and then Mario Maddox did some good things. The offensive line, I thought, had one of their, if not their overall best game of the year. Shout out Spencer Fano. I thought he played really well. And then defensively, fantastic. I called out the defensive line after last week. This is how they respond. 5 TFLs and a sack for Brinkley. 5 TFLs and 3 sacks for Travion Ford. 3 TFLs and a sack for Seth Jennings. That's how you do it, my friends. I still need to see the defensive line, the pass rush, and the run defense do this on a consistent basis. But this is a really good sign that once we called them out and put some pressure on them, this is how they respond with some of the best games of their respective careers. Overall, a good win. Again, I don't like that we scored 3 points in the second half. I don't like that we allowed 2 long touchdowns. But overall, we played pretty well. Travion Ford, Big 12 and National Defensive Player of the Week. Very well deserved. He was fantastic. So let's go through our Week 6 slate across the country. Indiana 0-5 facing off against Washington. And the Hoosiers, believe it or not, would end up winning this game. Really nice run here for a touchdown. Washington's coming off a tough loss against Purdue. I was still pretty hopeful for this team, and that hope has been thrown out the window. Now, as a Duck fan, I'm going to sit here and enjoy this because this is objectively hilarious. And if this were to happen in real life, I don't think I would shut up about it for a good week. I will say Demon Williams wasn't bad. He probably deserves some blame since they lost to 0-5 Indiana. But overall, it doesn't look like he's really the reason they lost. Arizona and UCF, couple of unbeatens in the Big 12. What a huge opportunity this is for both teams. And they both looked the part. I think when it's all said and done, these are going to be 2 of the best teams in the Big 12. But right now, I don't think anybody in our conference is playing as well as UCF. They win 28-24. They climb up all the way up to number 7. These 2 quarterbacks are probably the 2 best in the conference right now. Noah Fafita with another really good game coming off his strong performance in the win against Kansas. But Ja'Cory Brown is not much worse. We saw him last year. I feel like he's improved tremendously since then. UCF right now is the best team in the conference. These guys are legit. I am all in on the Central Florida Knights. I'm not all in, though, on Florida State. They just lost to SMU. They're 2-2. They've got to get back on the win column. They cannot afford to lose another one. The good news is they didn't lose this game. The bad news is they got utterly embarrassed and obliterated 38-13 against NC State, and it looks like the Seminoles might be a one-year wonder. They were really bad in Season 1, really good last year, really bad this year. Again, they're missing Luke Cromanhook. Brock Glenn has been worse, but not disastrously worse. And even if Luke Cromanhook was in there, maybe they would have an extra win, but there is so much more that's wrong with this team than the quarterback position. Shout out Terrell Anderson with a big game for the Wolfpack. Texas and Oklahoma, the Red River rivalry. Both teams are coming off of losses. Texas, I think more than anything, has so much to prove here. They cannot afford to lose a 3rd straight game, which is exactly why it's funny but also depressing that they ended up losing a 3rd straight game. Taylor Tatum, the junior running back for Oklahoma, with a big game on the ground. Sooners take it 30-24. They climb back up to number 16. Jackson Arnold continues to play quite well. I certainly don't see him as a first-round quarterback prospect right now, but his stock has gone up as this year's gone along. He's playing well. As for Texas, much of the same for Arch Manning. He wasn't bad, but he's leaving meat on the bones. I feel like he's college football's Kirk Cousins. He puts up the good numbers. He's solid. You're not going to complain with him, but he just doesn't move the needle. And the last 3 weeks, they're not getting Ryan Wingo the ball. It doesn't make sense. North Carolina facing off against Clemson. I've been waiting for Linares Sellers to prove why he's the Heisman. Tied at 44 in double overtime, he proves why he's the Heisman with a 2-point conversion to Marcus Dixon, 46-44. This is the game from Linares Sellers that I was waiting for. I'm going to stop hating. He threw for 6 touchdowns in this one, and in a game where the defense allowed 44 points, he was terrific. I'm still not sold on this team. I don't think Clemson should be number 1, but a big statement from Linares Sellers proving the haters, me, incorrect. Maryland and Oregon, number 5 versus number 6. What a prove-it opportunity for Maryland and MJ Morris. You know, with a good game, maybe he becomes QB1 in this draft. Well, Oregon took that idea personally. Dante Moore played pretty well. MJ Morris did not. 24-0. What happened to the offense who was scoring 50? I don't know what the deal is here. MJ Morris did not play a particularly good game. I'm still very much in on him as an NFL prospect. He probably shouldn't be in first for the Heisman race, but he is still certainly in the race. But in the biggest game of his season, he did not deliver. As for Dante Moore, he did what he needed to, and he put his foot down on any potential QB1 debates. He is still very clearly the guy right now. Tennessee and Auburn, 2 teams who have been surprisingly good this year. The Tigers undefeated, Tennessee 4-1. Granted, they just got blasted last week. Their freshman quarterback was a disaster against Texas A&M, and he completely flipped the script against Auburn. Tennessee 5-1, back in the top 10 as they win this game 45-31. Hank Brown was pretty solid. This is kind of like last year. Auburn started off hot, then they played some real teams, and then they didn't look too good. So I kind of suspect the same will be the case today. Their offense certainly had a good game, though, but defensively they could not stop Philandros Spiro. After 2 interceptions last week, he throws for 4 scores today. They ran the ball really well with Selden and the standout junior Peyton Lewis. Iowa heads to the shoe, facing off against Ohio State. They've climbed up all the way to number 2 after beating Oregon last week, but it looks like they may have let their guard down. The Hawkeyes shock the world and knock off Ohio State. So a good win here for Iowa. I'm going to hand them their flowers. They deserve credit. I thought their offense, for their standards, played quite well with a good game from Marco Laniez. But obviously the big story here is Ohio State, and I'm going to rant for a minute. This is what Ohio State has done throughout this series. They lose some games early in the year they shouldn't. They lose to Michigan. They sneak into the playoff at 9-3. They win their first round game against an inferior opponent, and then they get blown out in the second round. And it looks like that's going to be the case again this year. One thing, though, you notice something missing? Michigan is not on their schedule. Ohio State is sick of losing to them 6 times in a row, that they're done with it. So I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen the rest of the way this year for Ohio State. They're going to lose to USC. USC is really good. They're going to beat everybody else. They're going to finish 9-3, make the playoff, and the first time they play against a real contender, they are going to lose. This team is soft. Ryan Day is soft. Not scheduling Michigan is an embarrassment to the program. At least they can't lose to Michigan again, I guess, as we look across the country. Miami, number 10, with a nice win over Pitt. Florida, number 9, they're still undefeated. They beat Missouri in dominant fashion. Georgia squeaks away from LSU. The Bulldogs still undefeated. 23-0. Look at UAB. They didn't even play that well on offense, but their defense allowed a goose egg. Michigan with a big win. Kansas State with a big win over Baylor. We're going to see the Bears next week on the road. And then in Big 12 play, Houston loses to BYU 10-7. Those teams stink. We are lucky to get to play both of them this year. Cincinnati blows out Iowa State. It looks like Iowa State is pretty bad. So that win for West Virginia has not aged well, and that's not the only West Virginia game that aged poorly this week. Alabama lost again. We'll talk about that a little bit later. UMass, by the way, in their first year in the MAC, they are 5-1. Virginia loses to Rice. I don't know why they were ranked for so long. Here's Alabama. They lose to Kentucky. They're now 2-3. I decided not to go over this game because I don't want to spend any more time on Alabama because that program has just been so disappointing. They have to fire Kalen DeBoer. It's time to move on. Ole Miss, after their big win against Texas, beats San Jose State by a whopping 2 points this week. The Temple insanity run might be over. They lose to a pretty good Jacksonville State team. South Carolina, 28-21 over Arkansas. They are 5-1. I don't know how they are not ranked. Their sophomore quarterback, Corin LaRoque, is either first or second in terms of quarterback rating this year. And then Stanford finally loses. They drop one to Notre Dame. So this is what the rankings look like. You'll notice we are back inside the top 25 at number 20, one spot ahead of Arizona. Not really sure why. West Virginia is still ranked. They probably should be. They're still a really good team, even though they did not have a very good week. As we take a look at the awards, as we know, Travion Ford wins the National Player of the Week. This is the first time since Season 1 that we've had a National Player of the Week, and obviously he won it in the Big 12 as well, and again, deservedly so. He was fantastic. Let's look at the Heisman race. Lenora Sellers finally has a really good game. So fittingly, this is when he's no longer in first. Julian Sayin probably should have been ahead of him to begin with, but that's so funny. Lenora Sellers plays bad and gets rewarded. He finally plays really well, and he moves down. Logic. So as we go into next episode, we are on the road against Baylor, and then we face off against BYU. Two teams who are not great. I certainly don't want to take them lightly. We lost to BYU in Season 1. We're still looking for revenge from that game. But these are two of the not-so-good teams on the schedule. And if we can win those two, move up to 5-2, then we can really fluff our spot in the ranking and move pretty close to the top 10. We have a pretty favorable schedule the rest of the way. We got our two hard games out of the way and we split them. Would have been nice to beat Arizona, but at least we won one. Could have been worse. That'll wrap up the episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.